Everything's about leading up to a legacy, or being in a stable relationship. But there is questions behind whether or not this is something that someone wants to dedicate their time and effort to. So I don't think this is like two of coins kind of distraction sort of energy. I'm not getting that from this person. Not getting that from one of the people anyway. But I do feel like there is something here. There is something here regarding like avoidance, not looking at situations. It's weird because before I was like, oh, somebody may have offered something wonderful to someone else, right? Somebody may have offered their hand in marriage of some sort, which would have been cool. But it just seems like to me that's not the case. It looks like somebody is avoiding the situation because if someone has the Seven of Swords at this moment, that's avoidance. That's trying to dodge or something. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be, right? It could be that somebody's taking a risk. Somebody's taking a leap of faith, right? But the Two of Swords, the Two of Wands, rather, excuse me, Two of Pentacles, goodness, they can show the procrastination. It can show looking at everything but what your heart wants. And everybody's looking for a practical space. Everybody's looking to feel safe. Everyone's looking to be stable. You know, everyone wants something that's going to represent the relationship, or at least stand the test of time. Somebody wants to. Yeah, a lot of people. Some people don't want to be in a relationship, but some people also. Some people, especially regarding this relationship, they want to go up. They want to get to a better place in their life with their relationship. They want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to expand. But somebody's trying to figure out whether or not it's worth that. Somebody's juggling a situation, trying to keep everything balanced to get to that point. But in order for things to happen, to manifest, you have to be conscious and be living in your truth, and not just like living by your moral code or anything but like that, but living by how you feel. Being true to how you feel, communicating, expressing, and being true to how you feel. And I think that's one of the biggest messages for today, because before we start, pick the side that resonates with you. But this person on this side here is definitely looking at reevaluating, or they're the Seven of Cups can either mean reevaluation, or it can indicate that this person here is trying to figure out what else is needed to be done in their relationship. Of course, I think this person may be taking a risk here rather than avoiding the situation, or they may be avoiding a situation because they're reevaluating something. And it all has to do with going back to the past, right? Where they were last happy, how they felt in the past with this person. They're wanting to probably get to this point again, or get to a place where they are, this happy. But looks like they come a long way with this relationship. They really have. And how they think of this relationship is that, yeah, it's a work in progress. They don't know if they really want to continue, or this person doesn't know what other, trying to find other work to do, trying to figure out what else they need to do to expand it. What else do they need to do to, put work into it, to grow it, to nurture it, to love it? Not necessarily love it, but to, continue to put their best foot forward with it. So it doesn't have to be that this person's trying to avoid a situation. It could, right? And at the same time, this person may be very financially focused. So this person may look like they're trying to avoid a situation, or trying to get out of dodge, or trying not to focus on a situation head on, when they're actually really trying to, do the best that they can with what they got, what they know about their finances, to be in a situation where they're financially stable to support a relationship that can go beyond this phase. So that being said, this other person sees the Chariot with this relationship. Success. Beautiful progress. Perhaps even a need for more balance. But there is so much that this relationship has overcome. And there's so much, there's a great understanding that there is so much, success and, potential, happiness with this relationship. This person feels like they're in control of themselves. They're putting their best foot forward always. And they're doing the best that they can with what they got. Okay, so this person feels very in control of themselves, which is good. Cancer, this is your card as well. This is a card that you loan your energy to. And this is, And the reason why is because it's about balancing your head and your heart. Making sure that your heart, your emotions are being sustained and cared for and attended to, as well as tempering the mind. And I feel like this person definitely feels like this relationship is a success because look at how they're presenting themselves. They have the world here. That's the card for success. Again, that's another success card. It's a card of completing a cycle. Yes, it's been a long journey, but you've come to a beautiful wrapping up. It's a gift that's been given. Usually when the world comes up, Saturn, this is a card for Saturn. Saturn always gives gifts to hard work. And you have put in hard work. When I see the Chariot here, there's been hard work put in. This person may not be aware of the results of their hard work, and it's not really seeing where their hard work has been, going. They haven't really been seeing the results of it. They know now seeing the results that they want to see. They've seen results, but none that they want to see. So they're trying to figure out what else do they need to do, how far do they need to push. While you're like, or this person over here, whoever this person is, we're gonna, whichever one you resonate with, Cancer. This person here is happy with where they are. They're still doing the best, and they know they're doing their best, and that's good enough for them. And I think it's because they release the need or the attachments of expecting something, of wanting things. They feel like they're already connected in the relationship. I don't feel like this person needs anything. I don't think this person is distracting themselves. You know what I mean? The devil, to me, when it comes up like that, it's like this person has overcome a lot of things that made them feel disempowered. So now they feel empowered. Now they feel like they're ready to go. Now they feel like they're ready to put their best foot forward. I feel like this person here's got it down pat because they have definitely paid more attention to, the dynamics in the relationships, no longer allowing themselves to go down a pattern of codependency, no longer allowing themselves to drift off into a different area of their life, to satiate a part of them that, that may make them feel good, but doesn't really help them in the long run with relationships, with their life period. But at the same time, this could easily say that this person is still trying to gain a balance of self-control, of control over themselves, control of the situation. They see that this is a need, this is a path in which they have to adopt and practice and continue to focus on themselves, because this is unfinished business here. The situation is like they're coming to the end of a situation, ending of a cycle, transitioning to something new. But what's keeping them from being able to do that, perhaps a lot of their old addictions. They're obsessed about something, or someone else is obsessed with them. Some sort of poisonous relationship, or some sort of toxic relationship that's not helping them, at all, right? But they're still trying to maintain power over this, even despite what they're going through right now with a relationship that doesn't really offer them anything other than continued imprisonment. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you can read on this side, but I feel like this person is trying. This person is definitely trying, because they know there's something better out there waiting for them, but they have to complete the cycle with what they got going on here with this devil, whether this is a relationship with somebody that's a narcissist, relationship with somebody that's, that doesn't see what their needs are, or they're only, focusing on their own needs. They have to figure out what this dynamic is that's keeping them from being able to grow, to take control, to be empowered. So, this leads us to what brought you two together, which is the Page of Wands. This youthful energy, this spark of passion and excitement. I think this person definitely was, had a refreshing moment with this individual to remember that they are not just whatever this devil energy, has unnecessarily cooked up to be, right? Whatever this relationship was that's gotten, definitely ingrained in their patterns of behavior. There's a new way of acting, there's a new way of being, there's a new way of doing things, and there's a new adventure that anybody and everybody deserves to go on if they want to. And I feel like this is bringing out a youthful energy, a fun energy. This is not just limiting themselves to something that's, that's just present and relevant and, familiar. It's inspiring of growth here with the Page of Wands, I feel. Some spark of ideas. It brings out, so this relationship brought out the creativity of the person. It brought youth back, I think. Because I feel like whatever this person's been going through, it's robbed them of some serious creativity. It's hasn't been this person hasn't been living to their truest potential, at least living up to their heart's desire, doing what they want to do, because they've felt either restricted or they've been restricting themselves. But everything's a choice with the devil, right? Nobody made this person stay in this relationship. Nobody made this person, feel like they couldn't do certain things. Not really. There's always influence, there's always manipulation, but at the same time, the devil is a reminder that we are in a situation, we're in a dynamic where it's not empowering us because it's by choice. Not to say that we did this stuff to ourselves in a sense, but more of there is a sort of responsibility from this person to take their power back so they can lead the life that they want to live. But they have to realize where they're giving their power up to. Right? Because we always give up our power. When the devil comes up, it's not someone else taking it from us, because no one can truly ever take it. We have to surrender that. Because we're too powerful for anybody to take it from us. Too powerful. If we are images of God, we are too powerful for anybody to take our power away. We willingly give it. Either consciously or unconsciously. And a lot of times it's unconsciously because we love the person or we have a relationship with somebody. Or we want to see that grow. And a lot of times we just don't realize that the situation that we're in hasn't been very beneficial, very, respectful towards us. So this person is recognizing that now. This person is recognizing that now, where they've been giving their power away, where they no longer need to. But it's interesting that this, especially with this, before we get started, even with this other person, right? I think this is why this person wants, is doing the best that they can, taking a step out of their comfort zone and trying to figure out what needs to be done with this relationship, because this relationship is a soulmate connection that does bring them back to a time of happiness, that reminds them of a time of innocence where they can connect with their youthful spirit. So this person is feeling the youthfulness too. This is inspiring them to go after their heart's desire, their happiness. And I think this is why this person may be looking like they're ghosting, maybe looking like they're disappearing, but this person is doing the things that they need to do to sustain themselves and the relationship to, move forward. I don't know if this is true reevaluation, which it could be, trying to figure out what makes them happy by going back through their memories, what truly makes them happy, remembering time, and understanding that even though it's in the past, there is potential for happiness even in the future, even in this moment. But I feel like this person is trying their best to shape things up in the way that makes them happy too. This is inspiring them to pursue what they love, to be happy, to go after what makes them feel good. But the challenge is the Eight of Wands. There's not a lot of communication with this. Everybody's going through their own stories right now, but nobody knows what's going on. This person's probably ghosted. I think it's temporary here because they're doing what they need to do at this moment to, at least figure out what they want. Remember, at a time of innocence or whatever, but there's not a lot of communication. There's no progress being moved forward. There was a spark of passion, something definitely going, but then it died really fast. There's no communication, there's no nothing. And I don't know why, other than, everybody's having their own side of the story that they are dealing with. This person reevaluating, this person trying to take their power back, or most importantly, they have their power back and they're just lavishing in their new world, right? Because they got out of a difficult situation, or a situation where they felt like they didn't have any power for a while. Well, they have it back now, and they're enjoying it while they have it, kind of in a way to just kind of wait for this person to return. But usually the Seven of Coins would indicate waiting too. But this is figuring out what needs to be done. This is kind of reevaluating, figuring out what work needs to be put into the relationship for it to be stable. But I feel like the thing that we got going on here is communication. Progress. Things moving forward. Things moving fast. It could be that things are moving very fast and it's overwhelming to both parties. It could be that too. But it could also indicate that too, right? There's not a lot of communication because there's a lot of looking at some things either need to be taken care of or they honestly are just distraction tactics. Keeping the person away from a stable relationship because everybody's afraid of being tied down again. Of course, there was happiness with this relationship, but you have to think this was in the past. There was happy times, but what caused this person to not have this happy time anymore with the person that they're remembering or with the relationship that they're remembering? Which is bringing them back to this period of, I don't know if I could get back into a relationship again. Perhaps that's why they ghost. That's why they disappear. That's why they don't communicate. That's why they're distanced. But they also may be trying to figure out and trying to convince themselves otherwise because they know that happiness can happen again. They know that they were happy before. They can be happy again. It's going to require them to take a risk, and they know it. But they're dealing with the details right at this moment, and instead of just going with their heart and going with it, because the Eight of Wands is all passion, it's all flowing through. No pentacles, no slowness. It's just running with it. And there's not a lot of running with it because everybody's being super cautious. This person just got their power back from a situation that they felt manipulated, controlled, or vice versa, whatever, right? They've been feeling like they were held down. They were tied up. This person lost whatever they had. And they're trying to remind themselves that they can have something more stable and, secure. But, there's a potential for great happiness in this relationship, higher commitment. Better commitment than the last relationships that you both have gone through. But both parties need to see that too. Instead of kind of weighing the options, trying to figure out whether or not it's worth it or not, go with what your heart wants. Because practically thinking, if you're looking from a practical standpoint, what you get out of it, what's been consistent, because everybody has emotions, everybody's human, everybody's not perfect, including yourself, right? It's going to be hard to really, figure out which one is the right option for you because you're not looking at how you feel. Especially with this freedom to express now. Do it. Do express. But you guys have chaos and conflict. Now, that's the intense card. It's like the Five of Wands. It talks about intensity, challenges, intense challenges, things coming up where, in order for things to be peaceful, you have to fight the good fight. You have to, stand up for yourself. You have to create boundaries. You have to, have arguments, right? All those things come before peace because in order for there to be peace, there has to be correction. There has to be balance. There has to be adjustments and to fix the situation, fix the problems that occur for there to be happiness in the first place, for there to be peace at all. There could be so many good things here, but don't be afraid to get down and dirty. Not of course. Don't be dangerous. Don't be rude. Don't be all those things. But just don't be afraid to get into it, especially if it's something that you want. If this is something that you feel passionate about, go for it. Don't sit on it and think about it and wait and hope for the right decision to come to you from the sky because it's not coming. You have to be the person to decide it, and you have to be willing to, if you're deciding it, take your dream by the helm and ride it until it's real and in your face. Because if it can happen, it's possible, but it's all about your mindset going forward.